All right, What's up, guys? Another mock draft. It's Wednesday. You know what time it is. This will be trades. I don't have PFF Plus, so I'm just gonna have to push like a crappy PNG up next to it. But in this trade, I will have the Jets from 7 moving up to get Mendoza. So 7, the Jets will trade their 7th pick and their 18th pick. 18th pick right here to get Mendoza. So this isn't the Giants. Disclaimer: this isn't the Giants. So I have the Giants falling back to 7. So the Jets trade up, pick their quarterback of the future. They take Fernando Mendoza. The thing with Fernando Mendoza is, again, he's not a stud athlete. He's not like a Caleb Williams who's super good athleticism wise, but he is just a good guy. He'll stand there, take a hit. He will do things that are needed to be done. He will show up in moments that count. Like we saw that with the Ohio State Indiana game on Saturday, where he showed up, got a meaningful drive when he was having a rough game. So it's good. He's my Heisman right now. So honestly, you just take the best quarterback on the board for the Jets. So while yes, obviously you would want a freak athlete, maybe like a Dante Moore, who I have the Raiders picking next. You Dante Moore, who's also just good at everything, but is also a good athlete. Mendoza will elevate that offense by adding more chemistry, dying for his team, and just being just who he is, which is a good guy. People call him corny. I think he's just a good quarterback. I don't understand the hate. So I think Fernando Mendoza is a perfect pick here. And for the Raiders, we'll take Dante Moore. For me, Ty Simpson has fallen off a lot in this draft. So if you wonder why Ty Simpson will maybe not even get picked in the first round because it's been so bad recently after that Georgia loss, Dante Moore is obviously the clear number 2 quarterback, and there's rumors of him going back to school. I've said this many times the last 2 mock drafts when I found out this rumor. I don't think it makes sense if for Dante Moore. What other guaranteed incentives can you make? You can't make that much money from NIL compared to the guaranteed money you make in the NFL, being a top 5 pick, let alone second player off the board. It's dumb if he takes this down because this quarterback class isn't as strong as we thought it was last year. So this Dante Moore is going to be the second quarterback off the board, maybe even the first if front offices value measurables and traits and all that, depending how his combine goes or his interviews go, he can very much be the first quarterback taken off the board. So the Raiders get themselves a good quarterback here who is athletic, who can stand in the pocket, who can also use his legs to get out of the pocket if shit hits the fan. So it's not a bad pick here. And if you're Dante Moore, if you're getting all of this money for being a second overall pick, take it. I mean, I would take it, but that's just me. So, but the Titans on the clock. You could go Arvo Reese here. You're taking Arvo Reese for his versatility, linebacker, edge play. You can also take Ruben Bain here, who's the clear cut edge, like clear edge rusher that can change the game. He's 6'3". I think he isn't listed here, but I think he's like 270, 265. Yeah, so he's 270. So they have him as 270. So he's probably one of the heavier edge rushers because all these edge rushers here are very light. Besides maybe Keldrick Folk, who can play in the interior. Ruben Bain is also really big, but someone like a David Bailey, Cassius Howell. Cassius Howell has very short arms, very low measurables. David Bailey is also not a great run stopper, and TJ Parker isn't that well of a run stopper either. He's only 260, 6'3". So it's a very short class. I think LT Overton is probably the best run stopper here because he's the biggest. But is he a first round pick? I don't think he is. We'll get into that later in the later rounds. But you need to pick Ruben Bain or Arvo Reese. Again, Arvo Reese, 243, 6'4". He's a little shorter. He weighs a little. He's taller, but he weighs a little more. In the measurables, I think he's 30 pounds less heavy. So, and these physical stats really apply to these organizations who are looking for their friend. Obviously, you need that game changer guy. Arvo Reese can be that guy. He's been tremendous in college. Obviously, he's leading one of the best defenses, and he has gotten a lot of buzz recently, and for the right reasons, because he's really good. He's so versatile. He can play off the edge. He's incredible at literally everything. And he's really showcased that this year. So you gotta take what you get for the Titans. You gotta keep on building that team, keep on getting blue chip talent, and build around Cam Ward and honestly around get Jeffrey Simmons some help too with Arvo Reese and get a bona fide stud who can very much be an all pro. The Browns. So the Browns, you have Shedeur Sanders, so obviously you're not going to reach for Ty Simpson, who has fallen off in many, many boards. So you don't have to take Ty Simpson, even for the Saints. We'll get to the Saints later, but even for the Saints, you don't have to reach for Ty Simpson. So the Browns, you can go Jordan Tyson. They don't really need an interior line because Mason Graham's fine. Ruben Bain, I don't think you need it. You could go Jeremiah Love, but that'd be very high for running back. And if we're talking about Genty last year, maybe, but obviously Jeremiah Love. Well, Jeremiah Love has been the best running back in college football. I don't think you take that for how weak this wide receiver room is. So you very much have to go wide receiver here. You can go Tyson, McLemon, or Tate. Lemon again is that slot guy. You can find holes in the defense who can just do anything. But I don't think he is really good at the catch point. He can really catch and hold onto balls, but he's also used for gimmicks, like he's used in USC for jet sweeps and stuff. So he's not a bad prospect in this scenario. But I think you should take the chance with Jordan Tyson because, yes, Jordan Tyson does have a bunch of injury history, but with Shedeur Sanders and how unexplosive that offense has been, I feel like if you take Jordan Tyson here, that's going to give so much help for the future quarterback of Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, or if they draft one. No matter who it is, they're going to really love Jordan Tyson if he's available. And major question is if he's available, because depending on how he does in the combine and the measurables, it's going to get iffy because organizations really care about availability, health, and just being able to play. And if you're not able to play, you can't make plays. So will they take Jordan Tyson? I feel like the upside is there. And even if Jordan Tyson isn't picked here, he will fall to the later rounds like the Dolphins or the Ravens or something like that. So I wouldn't really worry about it because people would take a chance on Jordan Tyson. It's just where he will go. And I feel like Jordan Tyson is best in the class off of skill set, but off of consistency and availability, he is probably the worst. So out of the big 4 or 5 that are here, it gets rough. So yes, I do think you take the upside here if the Browns, because that defense is getting better. Myles Garrett isn't getting any younger. Obviously, it's Myles Garrett, but still, why don't you build around that offense? Because that defense seems perfectly fine. Obviously, they did lose to Tennessee, but still, let's get some blue chip players here. The Saints, I'll have them taking Ruben Bain. So obviously, Bain has been very good. With Miami, he's been very good. He's been very inconsistent sometimes, but he is probably the best pure edge rusher here. Obviously, Arvo Reese is there, but you're taking him for his versatility versus Ruben Bain, who is just an edge rusher who's really good. He's number 1 on the PFF big board. I don't believe it. I think Reese or maybe Down should be number 1, but Bain is still very good. And obviously, the numbers have been pretty good this year. He has obviously not as good as 2023, but he's been good this year. He's heavy, he's big. The physicals are there, which he's the most physically big and most physically sound person, I feel like, in the draft. And yes, he is, the weight isn't listed here, but he is 270 and he's 6'3". So he's on the heavier side because all these other rushers who are projected to go very high or projected to go in the first round are very, very small, with the exception of Keldrick Folk, who can play on the inside. But David Bailey, pretty small. Cassius Howell, very small. That's why draft buzz around Cassius Howell is a little iffy because he's so small. You don't know if he's a 3-down player. Same with David Bailey and TJ Parker too. He's pretty small. Romello Hyatt, pretty small. So that's why they're all, yes, there's a lot of depth in this defensive line class, like I've said, but they're pretty small. And Ruben Bain is one of those people in this draft class, which he's not super small, and he can really elevate that Saints defense because they have some holes in the edge rusher position. So let's get Ruben Bain in there. Let's get him to make plays and hopefully elevate that defensive line, because that's one of the most important positions in football. Same with the Commanders. I'm also taking a an edge rusher. The problem is who? Keldrick Folk, David Bailey, Cassius Howell. I have him taking Keldrick Folk. It's probably getting a little redundant, but Dan Quinn with his history with defensive line coaches, who is a defensive line coach for many schools, many programs, many NFL organizations. So I feel like you take Keldrick Folk here because one, Dan Quinn was gonna need some defensive pass rushing blue chip player because again, I know I'm saying the word blue chip a lot, but there's really no talent on the edge rush for the Commanders because it's looking grim, and let's get Dan Quinn his edge rushing guy who he works very extensively with, who he can give some insight in. So I think Keldrick Focus here. You're taking him also for his versatility. He can play on the inside, he can play on the outside. He's probably the biggest or one of the biggest in the class, 6'6", 285. So measurables are there. So and he's young. He's like 20. He's 20. He was born in 2005. He's 20. So take the young guy, young big dude who his draft stock's rising because he's young and he's big. And in this edge class where there's not a bunch of measurable players with giant areas, you gotta pick the guy who's young. So yeah, I think it's perfect. The Giants, who I have them trading, you guys won't see it, but the Giants, it's the just for me, but it's the Giants. The Giants. So there's many options you can take. There's Caleb Downs, obviously, who is probably the best player, but there's many concerns with safeties and how high they will go in the draft. So I'm thinking of an organizational standpoint where, okay, this is what an organization would do, not what I would do. If I was the Giants, I would take Caleb Downs. You're not going to get anybody like him. But the thing with the Giants is that there's positional value, and maybe you sign a safety, maybe you give Newman some more time because they drafted him less than a year ago. Or a year ago. So maybe you wait, maybe you go Lemon, or you can go Tate, a wide receiver, because you don't know about Malik with the ACL injury and how much volume he's been getting the past couple of years, where you don't know how well he's going to manage that with after coming off a big injury like an ACL. You can take Jamal McCoy too, but again, a lot of uncertainty because the Giants' cornerback room is very bad. It's very bad. The corners are not good. But do you take the chance with Mansour Delane, who has poor measurables, or the best college football corner at one point that's just got torn his ACL, and take the risk on that at 7? No, I wouldn't do that. You could take Caleb Downs, but I haven't personally taken Cardinal Tate. Yes, Cardinal Tate, obviously, he's not the most physically gifted. He's big, he's strong, he's good hands. But the most important thing, he's consistent, and he can hit those home run plays when needed. You saw that with Indiana. He got open, he got off the field, he made a big play. That's what big play players do. He's also very big, he's very consistent. The thing what I like about Cardinal Tate more than any of these receivers in this class, even Mekhi Lemon isn't bad at this either, where Cardinal Tate is always there, he's always available. He's always had a high pass or a high passer grade, or like a high grade, and he's good at run blocking. If he's really good at that, and the Giants need to get a home run player and give some stress off of Leak, so I think that's the perfect pick for that. Okay, so I got the Cardinals next. The Cardinals, they can go many ways. They can go wide receiver here. I've had them picking wide receiver before, but I think you should just take Fano. Fano has been decent this year, not as well as people projected him to be, but he's not been so bad to the point where he's going to fall out the first round or fall down even more, because tackle is so highly scouted after. So taking Fano here is a good pick, and you're going to need some help outside of tackle outside of Johnson, because those two are going to need that. So you're going to need some sort of help from the tackle position, and tackle is one of the most important positions in football. So taking a tackle here is good for no matter who the quarterback is next year, Kyler or Jacoby, or if they draft a quarterback, I don't know. But Fano here is a perfect play here, and you can't really put it off anymore. The Rams, I'm taking Caleb Downs. I had them taking him last time. Caleb Downs is probably the best player in the draft, maybe other than Arvo Reese. 2 Ohio State guys. He's been so good this year. No matter what, he's gonna change the culture. He's gonna hold people accountable. He's gonna be there. He's gonna play to win, like he is at Ohio State. He's gonna play to win. He's gonna be upset when he loses. He's gonna play to win. and he's gonna run that defense. I will say this with my whole heart. I love Caleb Downs as a prospect. He's everything you look for in a player. He is good at football. He is good in the locker room. He holds people accountable, and he brings energy and juice. That's literally everything you can ask for. Caleb Downs will literally he's more of a box safety than he is a ball hawk. He's not an Ed Reed type player where he'll go up and grab an interception, but he will hit you. He will allow you to run through the gap, and he'll light you up. So that's what I love about Caleb Downs. And with the Rams, it's perfect for them. So yes, you could have him taking a tackle like Mauigoa, or you can wait to take someone like a Proctor Lomu or even a Blake Miller, who's just pure left tackle. Blake Miller, he's rising in my boards too. So we'll wait on that. But I think Caleb Downs here is too much value for your pick. Caleb Downs, obviously, you're not going to... Obviously, he's one of the best. He's a top 3 player in the draft, maybe even the best. But positional value is very key, so it's a little iffy on that. But I feel like the Rams can take a chance with that. And maybe Caleb will even fall down to the teens. Maybe he'll take... maybe the Rams, or maybe the Lions, or... I don't know, but I feel like you need to take Caleb Downs here if he's available. So we'll do that. The Bengals, I would assume you would go offensive line here, maybe an edge, and we'll have them taking an edge. We'll have them taking an edge. We'll take David Bailey. He's not gonna be in all 3 snaps rushing the passer, but the running has been a little iffy. But David Bailey again is very good. Trey Hendrickson is done for the year, most likely, and he's gonna be a free agent. You don't know if he's gonna be playing in that uniform again. So take David Bailey, just fix it, fill it in with a young guy with not so much money left in the tank. So let's keep David Bailey here. The Vikings. You could have them going secondary. You can also have them going a safety, but Downs is gone, so maybe not. But take Jeremiah Love. I'm taking Jeremiah Love. Again, Jeremiah Love, Heisman hopeful, maybe runner-up. He has been very good this year. Notre Dame is done for the year for not making the playoffs. So he's done. So that's it. He's going to go to the draft. So whatever team gets him, they're going to be lucky because he's a game-changing player. He's very explosive. He's very fast. He can change a game. And when he steps into the Vikings facility, he will be the best player, or best running back in that organization. So you take him for his upside and his ability to be young. Obviously, running back is a very non-valuable position. You can get so much for something so late. Like you can get like a Le'Veon Moss or like a CJ Baxter or something, or Katron Alice or Nicholas Singleton. But I don't know. I feel like if you take a blue chip player like Jeremiah Love, he can change an offense and bring some stress off of JJ McCarthy, because Aaron Jones hasn't been doing it. He's old. He's getting old. So you take Jeremiah Love, JJ McCarthy has a safety net to rely on. So someone who's good on the receiving game and who's also good just running and pure runner. So I like that. The Dolphins, we're going to go with Jamal McCoy. Yes, cornerback has been an issue for the Dolphins. Jamal McCoy, yes, there's concerns with how he is going to come back from that ACL injury, but I do believe Jamal McCoy is the best corner out of this class, even with all the concerns with his injury. He's very fast. He can glue to you. So the Dolphins need a glaring hole at corner. You can maybe see them going Lemon, but I feel like they can wait on Lemon. The Ravens, I'm taking Peter Woods. Peter Woods, very, 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 very underwhelming this year. Clemson has been underwhelming, but you take him for his upside. He ripped it up as a freshman. He ripped it up as a freshman. 2023, 18 hurries, 2 hits. He obviously had 0 sacks, but he played really good as a freshman. And obviously the numbers are a little down, but again, Madubuike might not be back, and it's trending towards that. He has very bad injury, so I don't think, even if he comes back, he won't be the same player. So you just take Peter Woods, get value for your pick, and hopefully he returns to what he was and what he was hoping to be this year. The Chiefs. You can go many things here. You can go guard, edge. We'll take Cassius Howell. Cassius Howell, again, measurables aren't good, but he's just a good player. George Karlaftis didn't play that bad against the Texans, but I feel like if Cassius Howell is there, you take him. You can use some edge room help, and he's younger, so even if you decide to let George Karlaftis go in a couple of years, Cassius Howell will be fine. Again, this is all pending combine stats, but he is 6'2", 248. So he's on the smaller side, and he has very short arms, which franchises take very much into account. So let's get a little iffy. It's gonna get a little iffy there, but I do really like Cassius Howell, so we'll take Cassius Howell here. The Cowboys. I know it's getting redundant, but I feel like Sonny Styles is like the perfect place for for him to go. I mean, Dallas is the perfect scenario. Murray is getting older. Overshown has been okay. He's been injured a lot. He's very unreliable when it comes to injuries. So why don't you take Sonny Styles, who has elevated that? He's so fast. He played safety. I've said this many times. He has played safety. He can very much change a game, and he can cause a turnover. He can get some tackles, and that defense is going to be sneaky good if they keep some of their players, because, again, Caleb Williams, Azuruku have been good. Caleb Williams, Quinnen Williams has been really good. When they traded for him, he's been really good, and they can elevate that defense even more if they take Sonny Styles and get another great guy to pair along with Quinnen Williams. So, let's get your linebacker of the future and just get Sonny Styles. That's a perfect pick for me. The Panthers. There's a lot of intriguing picks here. You can go Mekhi Lemon, go Mansour Delane, you can go TJ Parker. Kenyon Sadiq is also very intriguing to me. He's not going as high as people thought he was. I see him in some of my mock drafts that I've seen. He goes in late 20s, early 30s, or really, just late 20s, early 30s. So it's gonna be an interesting take on how people view him, Kenyon Sadiq. So, but that's a very good weapon for Bryce Young, and a good pair up with McMillan. They both are very good. So that can be good. But I'm having taken the Mansour Delane. His corner isn't as big as an issue, but that corner room isn't as good as I would like to imagine. Obviously, J.C. Horn, all-pro guy. He's going to make an all-pro team this year. But other than that, it's a little weird. So I would take Mansour Delane. Obviously, the measurables aren't there, but the tape is there. He's very good. He's a little smaller. He's a little older, but I do like him. He has 2 interceptions this year, and he's only allowed 147 yards. LSU hasn't been that good this year, but again, he's only been targeted 35 times, and he's good. He's played a bunch of snaps. He's good. He's good. You take a good corner when you can get him, and corner is so important. So I feel like Mansour Delane is the perfect pick here. Lions. There's a lot of problems here. I'm gonna take Francis Mauigoa. Offensive line has been okay. I feel like you can wait on an edge or cornerback. Aiden Hutchinson is playing very good, so you can hold off on the edge here, even though TJ Parker is sitting right there. But hold off on the edge. Just take Francis Mauigoa. You can play him guard or tackle, whatever he ends up doing good at. You're just taking him just an offensive line help, regardless of the label. So we'll take Francis Mauigoa, and you don't know about Caleb Decker. You don't know how well that offensive line is. So that the offensive line is so bad they had to call Frank Ragnow out of retirement, and that didn't really work out well because he failed his physicals. But take Mauigoa, get Jared Goff some more protection, get Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery some more running lanes, and Mauigoa will actually fit perfectly. That Dan Campbell style defense where you just run through their mouth, you play hard, you play fast. So it's very good pick for the Lions right there. The Giants. So obviously, let's stop the Giants for me right now. But the Giants, they took Cardinal Tate. There's areas you can go. You can go Kenyon Sadiq. I really like Kenyon Sadiq here. You can go Kenyon Sadiq or offensive tackle. You can reach on a running back. Corners there. You can take Brandon Cece or Avion Terrell. And I think you have to take one of these two. I mean, there's no one else you can really take. You're not going to take TJ Parker. The edge room is too competitive, too good. You're not going to take Lemon. You just took Tate. Caleb Banks is too injury prone, and that defensive line is very young. So you can wait on a little. You can wait on that defensive interior pick. You can get in the later rounds. Avion Terrell is the best next option, or Kenyon Sadiq. And Obviously, Kenyon Sadiq is very good. He's a free guy. He can hit home run plays. Avon Terrell is more of a need though, so do you want to take the luxury pick and get Jackson Dart, an extra weapon, on top of Cardinal Tate and Malik Neighbors? That's an interesting pick. So I feel like Theo Johnson is young enough. They picked him 2 years ago, and he's still performing pretty well. Drops have been an issue, but it seems to be showing up, and he's been very injured recently. Last year, he was shut down for the entire year after the Thanksgiving game in Dallas after he injured himself. So it's very iffy, but I feel like you take Avion Terrell here. I don't know, actually, but, like, I don't know. Because, and then we'll just go Kenyon Sadiq. Again, Kenyon Sadiq, very, very big. He's going to be a game-changing tight end for you. Obviously, Kenyon Sadiq is going to be a very game-changing tight end for you. But Kenyon Sadiq is a tight end, and they're not very highly scouted after. But the Giants need some help with Dart, and Tate can help that too. Why not add Sadiq? So it's a good pick, and it'll help Dart and this offense be way more explosive. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how Tate and Sadiq function, but it's not a bad pick because you got a young stud quarterback, you got a young stud receiver. Why not get two other playmakers? On top of that, you have Cam Skadeby, the most energizing player in the league. So it's gonna be a good time for New York's offense because that offense looks not too bad after Sadiq and Tate come in. So it's not a bad option. The Bucks, I have them going a linebacker here. You can't put this off anymore. I'm going CJ Allen. CJ Allen has been very good this year. Georgia's defense has been very good this year. He's a big linebacker. He's 235. He can hit. He's tall. And he has only 8 missed tackles this year. He has more snaps. And he has 69 tackles. He has most tackles out of his career, his college career. I really like CJ Allen. Levante David's about to be 40. He's not the oldest middle linebacker in the league, but he's getting there. He's really old. So he's aging up. So why don't you get CJ Allen, see how he does. Georgia defense players are usually dogs, so I like this pick here. It's a surefire pick. The Steelers. So you can take Ty Simpson here or take Lemon. The problem with not taking Ty Simpson here is Ty Simpson obviously has his flaws, but it's quarterback. Quarterback's very important, especially in the Steelers scenario where Aaron Rodgers is very old, so you don't know how long he's going to play, if he's going to resign there, or what's next. Are you going to have another rental QB and wait for the next year's draft class and wait for DJ Lagway, Julian Saying, all those people, Norris Sellers if he returns back? Like, do you want to wait for that? Or do you want to just take the best quarterback you can right now, take Ty Simpson? And I would think you'd take Mekhi Lemon. I've actually loved this Mekhi Lemon pick here for Pittsburgh. It's a very good pick because DK Metcalf on one hand is very big, very strong. He can catch it. He's just a bruiser. He will run. He will run you over. He will contest you. He will dunk on you. Mekhi Lemon is the opposite. He will run. He's fast. He isn't a pure fast receiver, speed receiver like a Tyreek Hill type. He is very shifty. He's very slotty. He can play out the slot. He can also play wide receiver too and just find holes in the defense. He's just smart. He's fundamentally smart. And what I like about Mekhi Lemon is that he can have some defensive players take his mind off of him because DK Metcalf is such a big threat with the home run threat and how fast he is and how big he is. Mekhi Lemon can just squeeze under and get some decent yards. So I like this pick a lot for the Steelers. This is honestly a match made in heaven if you're Mekhi Lemon. You play with a competitive team and you're not obviously always getting looked at. So it's a good pick. The Eagles have looked very rough. They have looked very rough. Their offensive line has looked slow. Lane Johnson's very injured. They're just injured. And it's bad, but I think you take Avion Terrell here. There's too much value for how bad it's been playing. Other than Quinyon Mitchell, it's been very bad. Avion Terrell is a very good corner. He has no interceptions this year. The numbers again are down. Like most Clemson players, he's down. But again, his passer rating isn't that bad. So just take a chance. And I really like Avion Terrell here. Yeah, That's very much it. You just need some help outside of Quinn Mitchell. So Cuber DeJean go back into the slot. Instead of playing him as a boundary corner, which is good. So you play Quinn Mitchell, Avon Terrell, and then you play Cuber DeJean. That's a very young secondary too, so that can develop into even something better. And I'm sure the Eagles will find a way to hit with this pick because they always find a way to hit with every pick they have. So Howie Roseman's a genius. Howie Roseman is a genius. So take with that what you will. So with the Texans, you can go many ways. You can go Ione. You can go Kenny McDonald, even bolster up that defense even more. I'm gonna go Ione though. Offensive line has been very subpar, but the Texans have been playing very good football recently. They are super hot. They haven't seemed to cool down yet, and I feel like they can make a real playoff push the way they're playing. A good defense wins championship, and their offense isn't even that bad either. They have Nico Collins, CJ Stroud. It's not a bad offense. So bolstering up the offensive line is also very good because you protect CJ Stroud and you really need it because you traded away with Laramie Tunsil this offseason. So again, take offensive line here. It's not the flashy pick, but it's the right pick. Let's go with the Bears. The Bears lost against the Packers recently. I feel like you take Caleb Banks or McDonald here. So you take Caleb Banks or McDonald here. I feel like you need to work on that run defense. Obviously, takeaways haven't been much of a problem for the Bears because they lead the leagues in takeaways. But again, McDonald is a good pick here, and Caleb Banks is. I don't like Caleb Banks as much as other people do. I feel like he's very injury prone. He's old, and he is bigger than McDonald. But he has been playing good this week, and when he's been on the field, he's been pretty good. So I'll take Caleb Banks. He's very good. He's very big. He's 6'6", 330, and you gotta help with the run stopper. Even though he's very injury prone, you gotta take the chance. And when he's there, he's a real game changer. So take the pick when you can. The Bills. The Bills have been very okay this year. It's very interesting. They were getting torched by the Bengals this week in the snow. It's gonna be a very interesting way I go with them. I don't know who I'll go. People have them going Denzel Boston. I feel like that's a very redundant pick. They did the same thing with Keon Coleman. And it's not worked out well, where they took the big wide receiver. I feel like you need a wide receiver who can get shifting separation if they take a wide receiver, which, me personally, I would love for them to take Concepcion or, Concepcion. That's honestly a match made in heaven for the Bills, but I don't know. I feel like wide receiver isn't much of a need because Josh Allen can throw to whoever he wants. He can throw to plumbers, and it wouldn't really matter. So I'll go Brandon Cece. They've been decked by the Bengals. Obviously, the Bengals, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins are very good, but you can get some help. Tre'Davious White still out there in the big 2-5. Let's get him out of there. Let's get Brandon Cece in and get Maxwell Harrison some reps too. So I know it's gonna get really redundant with because you took a cornerback last year, 30th overall, but I think corner is such a scout after position, so I feel like if you take a corner here, it's not the end of the world. And again, it's not bad. The Chargers, I'm taking Pregnon. The thing with the game on Monday against the Eagles for the Chargers was very interesting because Justin Herbert was getting mauled by that defensive line from the Eagles, and I feel like you need to protect your franchise guy a little more. Obviously, they won, but it was close because he was getting pressured a lot. He was forcing him to errant throws. Let's get Pregnon, who's very big and who can change that defensive line and also add some depth. He's a redshirt senior. He's pretty old, but that offensive line, you know how Harbaugh orients. He wants to run that ball down your throat. Let's get Hampton some protection, and let's help some injuries, and hopefully Alt and Slater come back even better than they already were before. So I feel like Pregnon's actually the perfect pick here. So let's keep on bolstering that offensive line, and that's what Harbaugh loves to do, so it just makes sense. The 49ers, I have them taking a tackle here. I have them taking Blake Miller. Blake Miller is probably the most sound offensive lineman. Not sound, but he's the most pure offensive lineman. He is probably going to play tackle in the NFL, and he's been okay this year. Obviously, Clemson hasn't been good, but he has 11 hurries this year, which is down. He has 3 kits. He's only allowed 2 sacks, which is same as his earlier season. So it's not a bad pick here. And that offensive line for the 49ers are getting old. Trent Williams is getting old, and it's been injured. So let's get Blake Miller in. Let's have him learn under Trent Williams too. That'd be a great mentor to have. So I really like Blake Miller in this situation. The Browns, I had him taking Jordan Tyson before, and I don't think I'll have him taking quarterback here. There's Ty Simpson on the board, but I don't think that works. He's fallen down. He's gone to 60. Holy crap, he's gone to 60, man. He's gone to 60. That's crazy. So there's many ways that they can go. You can go Kenny McDonald. You can go Proctor. You can go Colton Hood. I'm not taking Colton Hood. Colton Hood, stepped in for McCoy. He's been very good. So take Colton Hood. He's pretty big, and he's pretty young, too. So he has 1 interception, and he's targeted 52 times, which is the most. But he's allowed 325 yards, which is okay. And you're just taking him for his upside. So, again, that's what you do with all of the draftees in the draft. But still, Colton Hood's a very good pick. So I think Colton Hood will do perfectly fine in the Browns offense, especially with how well that pass rush is. Those stress is taken off him. Let's go with the Dallas. Let's get a runner. So we'll go TJ Parker. Again, TJ Parker numbers are down, but he's fast. He's small. He's on the smaller side. He's 260 only, but you can really get to the quarterback, and I think TJ Parker is a good player. And outside of Zeruku, you can be good on both sides with Quinn Williams, and that can be a scary defensive line. And with Sonny Styles too, it's not a bad pick. Obviously, the secondary is going to be a little depleted. Maybe Trevon Diggs hits free agency, but I feel like TJ Parker is a good pick here, and you get some more pressure, and which they've been lacking the past couple years ever since trading Parsons. It's been pretty okay. So I feel like TJ Parker here is a perfect pick. All right, the Seahawks are on the clock. I was struggling to see who they can pick. I mean, the board isn't that well for them. I'm taking Caden Proctor. Caden Proctor can move to guard or tackle, whoever they want. The offensive line has been okay, so they've been fine with what they've been working with. But I feel like you can always add more to that, and that's one of the most important positions in football. So, Caden Proctor here, you can move to guard or tackle. He's very big, and he doesn't play like he's very big. He plays more fast. He plays more agile. He's more big than he's agile. So it might just depend on how well the Seahawks coach him in the scenario. But I feel like he's a very good value for his pick. So I feel like Proctor would work perfectly fine in the Seahawks. The Patriots. I have them going Romello Height. They're gonna need that. They're gonna need that pure edge rusher. They don't have blue chip edge rusher talent. Again, small. He's not very good at run defending, but he has good hits. He has 8 sacks this year. He's very good at pass rushing. Texas Tech team has been very good at pass rushing, so Romello Height is very good. And they can kind of afford that because their defense has been so good and their offense doesn't really need any help. Drake May has been doing fine with how much he's been given in the offense. So you can maybe take like a Denzel Boston here or like a Conception. But I think Romello Height's good here to get your blue chip guy and get your blue chip guy in the trenches, so he can get to the quarterback. The Rams. There's many things they can go. I'm going Caleb Lomu. Obviously, Caleb Lomu is very agile, very young, and he's just good at that. But he's very fast, and sometimes the tape isn't there. But you're gonna need to pick a tackle if you're the Rams, because I don't think you can keep on putting it off because everyone's getting older. And again, I know you didn't take a quarterback this draft, but getting the tackle is arguably as important because there's no way you're going to take Ty Simpson this high. So let's take Caleb Lomu here, and it's a good pick because he's pretty good. Broncos, I haven't taken Casey Concepcion. Casey Concepcion is very shifty. He's very fast. He can play on the punt return. He's very good. So Casey Concepcion can bring that real wide receiver, that mediocre wide receiver room to fruition. With Casey Concepcion, he can be that true number one guy, and you can really elevate that Broncos offense because that defense has been pretty good. The offense, the wide receiver room isn't that good. So I feel like Concepcion can really elevate this offense and help give Bo Nix some help. So that's a very good pick for the Broncos. That's basically it. So obviously the Rams could trade up. There's mock drafts. The Rams trades up to one and get Mendoza. I don't really think they would give up that much capital, even though Mendoza's a quarterback or even more. They get up to get a quarterback, and I don't know. I feel like the Jets would be more needy for a quarterback right now because Stafford is playing at an MVP level, and obviously you would want to get a quarterback sooner rather than later to learn behind someone like Stafford. But they can maybe wait because Stafford maybe has 1 or 2 years left in him. So obviously Stafford can retire if they win the Super Bowl this year. But I don't know. I feel like you should just wait for a better QB class, personally. Um, But for the Jets, it does make sense because Garrett Wilson isn't getting any younger, and obviously Garrett Wilson is still young, but like he's still going to progress, and they have so much draft capital from trading away Sauce and Quinn Williams, so it just kind of makes sense to trade off for a quarterback here. Anyways, that's basically it. I'm gonna stop yapping. I'll get this out to you as soon as possible.